Hey, I'm back. Week 8 video blog now, I think. I missed the last few weeks. I was out, training with Chael Sonnen for a couple weeks. I went out to Oregon at 1 MMA, training with those guys. Then I came back and I'm training now. I moved down to Bridgewater to train with Joe Lozon, and I'm doing a lot of training with Lozon MMA right now. Just good guys in the room. Joe's obviously in there. Joe Proctor's training for a fight in the UFC. Tom Lawler's in there training for a fight in the UFC. So just good bodies to train with down there. Basically what we missed is Kelvin beating up Bubba. Kelvin, I wish he was getting more TV time. He's just an incredible kid. And it was really cool to see him choke out Bubba and get that win for our team. Fast forward to the next week. Josh taking down Thor, that kind of stunk. Thor's one of our, favorite guys on the team. He's one of the best guys in the house. Great kid, so it's tough to see Josh take him down like that. Then that brought us up to my fight with Clint, which I'll talk about. Just some things a lot of people are asking about Uriah Hall, why he's coming off as such like a jerk and stuff in the house. But in Uriah's defense, those things he said, they actually happen. They can't edit those comments and things into people's mouths. But Uriah, I think he's a good guy, has a good heart. He just kind of was in a situation where he'd get put on the spot and he'd make a quick comment and then he'd feel bad afterwards. And, he'd do it a lot, but, I don't think he was being hurtful with that. I don't think he was trying to be a jerk. But for all of us, there was times, where you're just kind of like sick of hearing him make those comments and stuff. But then other times where he was great and he wasn't tough to live with at all. So that brings us to my fight with Clint. It was a fight early on we really wanted. It was something I wanted earlier in the tournament to take out the number one guy. The guy that everyone was looking at was the top pick for Team Jones and everything. It was a tough fight, and a lot of people kind of questioned the way I went about it, more or less wrestling him in the first round. But Clint was a guy that he really had powerful striking, and he had a lack of a ground game, but he was still so explosive, being able to get back up to his feet and stuff. And it was something I wanted to do and go out there and establish, a wrestling game plan, wear him down, tire him out, and look for the finish when he kind of got worn down a little bit. And it's not a street fight. I mean, I don't want to street fight Clint. I wouldn't go out there and pick a fight with him. If I wanted to do that, I would have slapped him and called him into the backyard and tried to street fight him. We were in a competition setting, and my goal was, to wear him down and get into a position where I can dominate. And, I didn't throw a ton of punches in the first round, and people were kind of questioning, like, oh, he wasn't throwing punches and looking for the finish. But it's like, okay, I wasn't throwing punches until the point of the fight where I started throwing punches and finished him. So it's kind of tough to really judge in a 2-round fight. You didn't look for the finish when you actually finished the guy. But, I think the game plan I had was just wear him down and establish a tight ground control. And he surprised me by how good he was at just exploding up. He's clearly not the most technical guy on the ground, but his athleticism, his desire to just get up and, just fight, throwing punches from everywhere, kind of took me by surprise by how gritty he was and how much he was just in there to scrap. So, I was happy to go in there and get the win. I took a ton of damage, and that was something that, I wasn't really counting on, all those elbows to the head and stuff. So that was pretty tough, but, I was happy to go in there and get the W. Okay, now we're pretty much caught up to this week. I kind of went over things quickly, and if people have like questions and stuff, you can leave them in the comments and stuff, and I'll try to get to them for the next week. And again, I'm sorry, I had very busy last couple of weeks and, missed a couple of the blogs. But this week, obviously, you saw the Coaches Challenge, which was pretty cool. They went out there and operated heavy machinery, and of course, all the jokes about John Jones being behind the wheel were flying all over the place. And as you saw, like, Chael came out to a big lead, and we thought we had it. We're all sitting back thinking about our $1,500, and then Jones caught right up and made it competitive. And it was a lot of fun to just watch them go back and forth. And it was cool to see Chael talking crap the whole time, because we couldn't hear that when we were watching. We knew it was happening because Dana was telling us in the headset that Chael was talking all kinds of crap, but we didn't actually hear that till the episode aired. So that was pretty cool. Dylan versus Zach was the fight for this episode, and we expected Zach to go out there and really handle business. We didn't know much about Dylan. We knew he was kind of a striker, a tough guy. He fought a lot of guys, a lot of experience, but we all kind of looked at him as one of the weaker guys on Team Jones. And being last picked, he naturally got kind of grouped into a pile of, the bottom guys in the house. And watching like one of the first episodes, Dylan loved it. He was like, "I love being last pick. I'll fly under the radar." And that's kind of what he did, because we thought Zach was going to go right in and take care of business. It was tough. There was a few positions where, Zach, I think, could have finished. He made that one mental mistake. He went to the mount and got swept, and it kind of cost him that first round, I think. And then in the second round, he threw a good punch, got him rocked, and he went in for that flying knee and got taken down. So a couple mistakes for Zach, but it was a pretty competitive fight, I think, when you take out those couple mental errors that Zach made. It's definitely a fight that Zach could have won. So it was a little upsetting, but Dylan was one of the best guys in the house. I know they don't get too much into him. He's been quiet so far. You just get to know him on this episode, but he was a guy that it was hard to really be upset when he won, because Zach's my teammate, but at the same time Dylan was such a good guy that you kind of like, either way, you're watching a good guy win the fight, and someone who's very deserving, someone who's fought a lot of times, put a lot of work into the sport. And then the wild card pick, Jon Jones and Chael were given the option to pick as coaches the wild card, and Dana just stepped back and let them do it. I can tell you, I personally was really hoping for Bubba to get that wild card. I didn't think much of Bubba. I didn't think he was that good. And Clint, I just thought was an animal. He might not be technically the best guy there, but he's a fighter, and having just fought him, I was pretty relieved when Jon Jones came out and said Bubba was getting the wild card, because anything can happen in the Ultimate Fighter tournament, and they could have given Clint the wild card. He wins, and then he comes back, and I got to fight him again in the next round. And he's a really scrappy dude, not someone I was looking forward to fighting again. And Bubba was someone that I was looking forward to being able to fight. So I was pretty happy when they gave Bubba the wild card. On our team, Chael picked Kevin Casey for the wild card, and I was a little upset at the time, because I was kind of like, Zach's very deserving, and it seemed like Zach wasn't even in the question, really, it seemed like. So I think they both underperformed in their fights, but Kevin, I think, underperformed even more. So Chael being Chael, he was like, I really want to give Kevin the opportunity to show himself and show people that he's a better fighter than what he showed. So that set the mark for our wildcard fight. It's going to be Bubba versus Kevin. And like the preview showed, it's a pretty crazy finish. It's very unusual, and looking forward to seeing how it comes across on TV. So stay tuned next week.